identify conditional equations, contradictions, and identities. We need to get ourselves familiar with these terms. Now, conditional equations means equation that true for only specific values of the variable. In other words, we get a solution for that. We get the solution for equation that considered to be conditional equation. Contradictions, equations that are never true and has no solution. Let's take a look at the example of that. What equation is never true? If I have x plus 1 is equal to x plus 2, can I make this equation true ever? You can't, right? Because it's kind of like you have a scale here. Remember there's old scales like this? A lot of you don't remember these old scales, but exist before. So if I have a weight, unknown weight here, x pound here, sitting here, and I put x pound here, and then I have a known weight 1 pound here, and then I have 2 pounds here. Because I know I have 2 pounds sitting here, 1 pound sitting here. If somebody asks you, I want you to put an equal weight to both sides of this scale to make it equal. I want to give me a weight I can put here to make this equal. Is it possible? There's no way we can do that, because to begin with, the scale was not equal. It was tipped one way. So there's no way I can do that. So this would be an example of where we get no solutions or contradictions. It means no solutions. And this is a symbol we use when we have no solution. Empty, C. This is a Greek word for that. Okay, identity. Identity would be, I could get any number be a solution. A good example of that probably would be if I have x is equal to x. This would be a good equation. Let's get all real numbers. I can pick any number I want that would be a solution to this equation. 1 would work, 2 would work, any other number I want to pick. So this would be known as identity. Here is an example that we want to see whether it's a conditional equation or contradiction or identity. We need to solve that. To do this, we need to distribute. We distribute 5, we distribute -3, distribute 2. Once we distribute this and combine like terms, we realize that the left-hand side of the equation and right-hand side of the equation will be exactly the same. This would be like the example I showed you earlier, x is equal to x. So if we were going to solve for this, any number would work for that. So this would be example of identity. All real numbers would be a solution to this. This is an example where we can decide whether it is conditional equation or identity or contradiction. If I distribute 5, -2, on the left-hand side, and combine like terms, once I solve for x, I realize all the variables drop to 0. So you get 8 is equal to 1. So that would be considered to be false. So that means there is no solution for this contradiction. We want to identify whether this equation is conditional equation or contradiction or identity. The left-hand side, I can distribute the minus. You get x minus x, then you get -1. When you combine like terms, x minus x adds up to 0, and the left-hand side you get -3, and the right-hand side you get -2. So this would be another example that would be contradiction, no solution. Another example, decide whether it is conditional equation, identity, or contradiction. This is an equation where we have a fraction. Remember, we were supposed to clear the fractions. The clear the fraction, we need to multiply each term by LCD, which is 3. If I multiply each term by 3, all the fractions turns out to be equal to 1, and you would get simply x plus 1 here, plus the 3 cancels here, you get 2x. And then here, this 3 cancels, turns to 1 here, so we get 3x plus 1. So now I have a linear equation to solve for, and once I isolate the variables and combine like terms, I get 0 is equal to 0. That is always true, so that would be an example of identity. All real numbers move to this example. Another example. Identify each equation as conditional equations, contradiction, identity. We distribute the 5, combine like terms. At the end, we get 0 is equal to 0, so that would be an example of identity. I can write the solution set as, uses brackets, C, this is such that C is all real numbers. It's a fancy way to write the solution. Another example, decide whether it is contradiction equation, identity, or contradiction, or conditional equation. Here we distribute the 5, combine like terms, and at the end we get x equal to 0. With x equal to 0 means we do have a solution for this. So that is conditional equation, and the solution is 0 in this case. Another one, we would identify each equation as a conditional equation, a contradiction or identity. We have 4x minus 3 is equal to 17. If I add 3 to both of the equation, divide both sides by 4, I get the solution here.